it is. See? And I don't care who the guy is. Because my right is my right, like my life. You know? All I have is my life. That means if I can say, I don't want that or I don't want this. I see myself as a revolutionary who don't have no help and not take no bribe from no one to fight it single-handed with music. Rasta is the future. See?
We should reach out and work in partnership with civil society, with the private sector, with foundations, for philanthropies, focusing on the need of the individual. Yes, states are important and their concerns are important, but at the end of the day, it is the citizens and the individual needs which are important. Huge problems like genocide begins with one individual, the humiliation of one individual. And so the focus on individuals and people is the right one. And if we work in partnership and we all do our little bit collectively, we will make a giant contribution.
Rights is what we shall be talking about now. The promoters of a bill currently before the National Assembly say it is derived from the International Convention on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, which Nigeria is a signatory to along with over 160 other countries. Anyway, let's talk more about this. We have joining us at this time co-founder T.R.E.E. Initiative, the Rural Environmental Empowerment Initiative, Sola Kolawole.
Good morning.
Welcome. Also joining us is a co-founder of the organization Ropo Egbeleke.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
Now, let's start by asking what the Right to Food Bill seeks to achieve.
Well, the Right to Food Bill is a bill before the National Assembly. It has been at the premise of the National Assembly for over 80 years. It was first introduced to the House of Representatives in 2010 to alter Chapter 2 of the Constitution, where we have state policies. Now, again in the 7th Assembly, it was represented to the Senate. This time around to alter section Chapter 4 of the Constitution to make food a right. But up till now, this is the 8th Assembly, it has not gotten the needed intensity to get it amended in the Constitution as a right. This time around, the bill has been represented to the 8th Assembly, harmonized, so that it becomes a part of Section 4, Chapter 4 of the Constitution as a right. Now, the essence of the Right to Food Bill is to take food away from the regime of need into the regime of right.
Why? Why do you want to do that?
Now, essentially, you see, globally, you cannot have food security when you don't have food as a right. The Right to Food Bill itself is premised on the UN Declaration. This is to fight hunger. You understand? Hunger, for instance, the definition of hunger is the...
Would the right to food necessarily make food secure, available for everybody?
Yes, because you see, when you don't have food as a right, what we have right now is that when we have food, we see it more as charity. That's why politicians go about campaigning that they will make food available, or they are giving food to people to help them. Like the situation in the Northeast now, the food given to those internally displaced people is not given to them as a right. It is an act of charity. Government can decide not to give, and nobody can hold government accountable. So, essentially, the right to food bill will make provision of food in such situations a right.
Let's take it to a lower level. I mean, let's take it to the households, because I'm trying to understand this right to food thing. I mean, within the household, if a parent or parents deny the children or people within the household food, does this law apply? I'm trying to understand.
Well, you see, what we are talking about now is right to food as a policy of state. This would make government do more, particularly in the agriculture sector.
Are they not already doing more? Let me come to you, because I see one of the provisions is to make greater public investment in agriculture in favor of small-scale farmers with commitments in the 2003 AU Maputo Declaration of a minimum of 10% of national budget for agriculture as the irreducible minimum benchmark.
Yes.
Now, isn't government already making sufficient investments in agriculture? It may not be up to that 10%, but there's a lot of campaign, a lot of investments, a lot of attention given to agriculture by this government and even previous governments.
You see, what he's trying to say is that when something is not justiciable, you can't sue the government or hold them accountable. Let me give you an example. In 2014, there was a UN General Assembly position on the environmental degradation in Ogoni. It denies people access to food. You see, right to food is, you have two key components. The government, laws are policies. So if there is a law, then the law will be a premise of the policy. Now, you cannot, when you know that it is justiciable, you can be held accountable, you can be sued to the court if you make policy that denies people access to food or means of production. You see, in chapter 4, there are some fundamental rights stated there clearly. You can hold the government, you can take them to court, you can sue them. Of course, you don't look at it from the aspect of nothing is working in Nigeria for now. Yeah, we want Nigeria to move forward. And I can tell you that when people challenge government authorities in court, they are winning. It is based on it is constitutional. Something that is not constitutional, you cannot hold the government accountable.
But is chapter 2 not...
chapter 4 and chapter 2 is different.
Chapter 2, fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, clearly states welfare for the people, isn't it?
It's not justiciable.
It's not justiciable.
Who says it's not justiciable?
It is not.
It is not, because...
Have you tested the provision in court and it's not justiciable?
No. Yes, many times. That's why I say there is this case of Ogoni that
went as far as
the General Assembly
in the UN.
There was a report on it. They cannot hold the government accountable because it's not a statutory right in chapter 4. Every right in chapter 4, the government will use.
What does chapter 2 say?
It made mention of food in passing.
It's in passing.
Just like every other basic need in passing.
It says that is the sole essence for the existence of the state.
Yes.
Are you saying that if the state has failed in the provision or in abiding or fulfilling that component of the Constitution, chapter 2, are you saying that it's not justiciable?
Let's take it from the Maputo Declaration 2003, which you just quoted. 10% of budgets to agriculture. What percentage of our budget goes to that sector?
Now.
And who has gone to court to challenge government that we are not doing the needful in that aspect? Not even 1% of our budget. Not 1%. Then you have a budget that you give to the Ministry of Agriculture that is meant to pay the running costs of MDAs. About 49 of them in that ministry. So at the end of the day, what we end up giving to that sector is miaga. It doesn't make sense at all. You see, the right to food bill is looking at the push and the pull factor. the pull factor, when there's demand for food, is going to push production. Then you begin to see development in terms of rural livelihood, and that is how you can power the economy. You see, we keep talking about diversification and we are looking at agriculture, but we are not doing the needful. We talk about food security, and we don't want to talk about the right to food. You see, the situation is just like putting the cart before the horse. What we need, first of all, is to have food as a right in chapter 4 of our constitution. Then every other state policy in that sector will align, and that is when we can go to court to challenge governments that they are not doing more for that particular sector.
What kind of pronouncement would you get from a court, for instance, if this bill becomes law and some persons are hungry? What kind of pronouncement would you get from a court?
Don't forget that it is not as if an able-bodied person like me will be shouting in front of us that I'm hungry. The bill specifically mentions those
Categories
that can, hold government accountable.
Who are those people?
They are the vulnerable. They are the children who are deprived, internally displaced persons, market actors, women, people with disabilities. It is clearly stated in the bill. So you work, you can have access to food, you can afford what you like. There's a difference again between food security and food sovereignty again. That's another thing entirely, But the fundamental thing is that every Nigerian, irrespective of tribe, religion, or region where they come from, must have access to food.
Okay. Now, one of the provisions is access to land rights should be secured for women farmers as a major step towards empowering them to lead the efforts to ensure food security. Land is a critical issue in the country. How do you intend, or does this bill intend to, address this particular issue, considering the wider issue of the Land Use Act?
Yeah, that is okay. That's what we are saying. That I mentioned the other time. I think I need to emphasize it again. Means of production, which is mostly land. Means of purchase, livelihood. Now I want to give 2 examples of different policies of government. There is this government can wake up in a day and we all see it. We want to make a super highway, 18 lanes. No, they are farmers. Means of livelihood and means of production in that place. They say they want to do development, and they will just
about 90 villages.
About just clear all the lands, massive deforestation, massive land grabbing, in the name of calling China to come and do development, and you deny people the access to means of production of food or the livelihood. You want to do beautification. Even in Thailand, there are informal economy. There are people that do street trading. You just cleared hundreds of thousands of people away because you want to make your town a mega city. And at the end of the day, people will not have means in which they can purchase food. And I don't know why we are even debating it, because if you give birth to a child, that is the first right of UN, right to life. The next thing you give a child, whether animal or human being, is food. Is food.
So what kind of engagement is ongoing to ensure that this bill, which has survived, you said 2 terms now?
3 times. Yes.
What kind of engagement is going on?
The Voices of Food Security is a coalition of different NGOs in agriculture and in food and security sector. They came together. That was when they pushed the bill. And last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we visited, together with the Voices of Food Security, visited the sponsors of the bill, Honorable Estefanos in House of Rep,
Senator Abdullah Adam
in Senate, but we visited the House of Rep, and we he has passed the first reading and second reading in the House of Rep. So that shows that there are many honorables that are backing it up. But it was passed to the Constitutional Review Committee, in which it was stepped down. Now the question is, when we engage them, some feedbacks we got why they step it down bounds to 3 major reasons. Number one, affordability. When you look at the cost of implementing a stuff. I ask myself question: are you saying we don't have money when we have $1 billion dollars I mark for Boko Haram that has been technically defeated? We know how much INEC spent on election. Not talk of the feeding allowance of our president, or not talk of the salaries of honorables and senators. So then they ask question of people can be concerns about, people can be saying that.
Has there been a public hearing yet?
They step it down from the constitutional review.
Step down at the level of the constitutional review committee.
Since it's you want to have it embedded in the constitution.
Exactly. Okay. So you see, the fundamental thing is that there are concerns, like you said, concerns about affordability, concerns about litigation, that people will begin to take government to court, people will begin to hold government accountable. Then there's this other concern that policies in this country, we just have a lot of policies, they are not working, but that does not say that a crucial bill, in fact, the only bill that is central to the life of the common man.
That's why you're pushing ahead with this advocacy.
That is why we are intensifying this advocacy to conscientize Nigerians, to ask their representatives
to support the bill
and the senators to not just support the bill, but to pass it so that we can get presidential assent in this 8th assembly.
All right, thank you very much, guys, for coming on. Sola Kolawole and Ropo Egbeleke.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, don't go anywhere just yet. It's that time of the week where we'll bring you reports. Do stay with us.
Hello, I'm Kiki Omili, doctor turned actor, and I'm proud to support U Reports because it gives young people a chance to speak up on issues that concern them. If you want to share opinions on issues like improved healthcare services, U Reports is the way to do it, as it helps amplify your voice and allows you to hold your government accountable. The steps are very easy. Just text JOIN, JOIN, to 24453 for free on all networks, and like us on Facebook at U Report Nigeria. Join U Report today and make your voice count.
All right, there you go. Let's look at what the U Report analysis is for week March 22 to 28, 2018. 3 questions were put out there for the week. Let's go through some of them. Are you or anyone you know benefiting from social investment programs? 2, are you aware of the federal government of Nigeria GIP or Mark-a-Money program? Has power supply improved in your area? Now, these are very interesting poll questions because yes, we just finished talking about government and policies. So much policies being spewed out each time a new administration comes in, but how much of those policies connect with the people? Of course, social investment programs, SIP of government, is one of the new ones that has been set up by the government. The Buhari administration has done a lot to popularize it among the people, and some persons actually have confessed that they are beneficiaries of it. But let's actually find out from the generality of the population, those who have been able to sign up to U Reports, just how much do you know about some of these policies?
Now, are you or anyone you know benefiting from the social investment program? Well, 139,332 responded out of 2.3 million polled. Now, 78% says no, and 22% says yes. So 78% says no, they do not know anyone benefiting from the social investment program. Now, this is quite instructive, Utibe, considering the fact that we've heard so much about the social investment program, how much government is doing, how much fraud the federal government has discovered in the process of implementing this program. And there you have it, 78% of the respondents are saying they do not know anyone benefiting from the social investment program.
That's quite telling indeed. 75% is a huge number, and that's actually 139,332 out of 2.350274 million polled. They do not know, neither are they themselves benefiting from the SIP.
Now the second question, are you aware of the federal government of Nigerian GIP or Mecca Money program? 122,487 responded out of 139,332 polled. Now 89% says no, they are not aware of the federal government of Nigeria's GIP or Mecca Money program. 11% says yes, we do know about it, but how significant are these voices, considering that 89% are not aware at all of this program of the federal government?
89%.
89%.
So is that Mecca Money? Is that news to you as well?
Mecca Money is new to me, actually. So perhaps I would fall amongst the 11% who says no, we're not aware of
actually
the program.
89%.
89%, so I'll fall amongst the 89% of those who say no, they are not aware of the program, and I'm guessing that Uti Bay would fall amongst the 89% as well. Well, has power supply improved in your area? 110,277 responded out of 122,487 polled. Now, 69% says no, power has not improved in my area, and 31%, I beg your pardon, says yes, power has improved in my area.
Well, this is one that basically everybody would connect with. Power supply. I think I'll fall in the 69% because it's been quite terrible for the past, I think, 1 month.
Okay,
thereabouts.
I would say I'll fall amongst the 31% because we've had a reasonable supply of power in my area. But the question is, why are some areas not getting sufficient power supply? Because the federal government recently announced that there's a 7,000 megawatts generation of electricity. And so evacuating this power to homes and businesses is one question that a lot of Nigerians continue to answer. There is the metering question.
The metering question and distribution problem as well, and transmission problem as well. So these excuses have been there for so long. Why has this problem not been solved? But sometimes the dynamics are much more complex than it appears to be. But however, these are some of the responses we've gotten from people who have signed up to You Report, essentially getting you involved and getting you to be aware of what's happening. And of course, making your voice count. Yes, that's what it says.
And so to make...
Yes, to make your voice count, you can be part of You Report.
You can be a part of You Report. You just go to the website is www.nigeria.ureport.in. You can participate via SMS by sending join to 24453. Follow the prompts that appear, answer the questions until the process of registration is completed. Also find You Report on Facebook, and it's at You Report Nigeria. Like the page, send a message on Facebook Messenger. This automatically signs you up on You Report, and you will start to receive weekly polls. And do join us next week for another edition of EU Reports.
Now let's take a few tweets that have come in based on our discussion today, looking at the internal political wranglings in the ruling All Progressives Congress. Umar Kehinde Alhas tweets at us and he says, I think APC need to follow due process as it was mentioned earlier by the president. Otherwise, it may lead to division in the party. Omodafe tweets at us and he says, why did APC delay the convention till now? Our political parties lack internal democracy. And I think he has a point here because, internal democracy involves periodic election for national officers of the party. And it was delayed. Actually, the tenure of the current NWC expires in June 2018. But essentially, you don't wait till it's an elective convention. There's also non-elective convention of the party where, people can meet and actually discuss affairs affecting the party. Onome John Atsua says APC is a merged party, and after winning the election, members have been put aside. Convention is a way if democracy is the way. And Ofodile Oji tweeted us and he says APC is yet to constitute its BOT after 4 years. That's another
That's another interesting perspective
to it as well.
Really?
So much about the party getting his house in order as he prepares for election 2019.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much for investing your time with us. We've come to the end of today's edition of the program. Join us again tomorrow, Friday, for another edition of the program. In the meantime, have yourself a beautiful, beautiful and wonderful day. I am Salamatu Ibrahim.
And I am Otuba Omar, and do stay with us. Focus Nigeria comes up in an hour's time, 10 o'clock.
Is Lagos.